Good morning 4A, good morning 4B, good morning 4C. This is your lesson for Tuesday. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, you heard stories in the past tense, we studied the past tense, and today we're going to talk about using it in a more dynamic way. The idea of this lesson is that you, with a little bit of fantasy, with a bit of imagination, you are going to write a story in the past. A mystery story or a story about something interesting that happened to you. So how are you going to do it? Well, I'm going to help you. I'm going to tell you an interesting story that happened to me. My husband Robbie has a house in Abruzzo. Abruzzo is a beautiful part of Italy full of really big mountains. And his house is in the mountains. And in front of his house there are mountains, big tall mountains, and behind his house there are also these incredibly beautiful big mountains. And I love going to this house. His mother lived in this house and his grandmother lived in this house. And this house is on 3 floors. 3 floors. But at the bottom, in front of the garden, there is an old room. An old room where they put all the old things they didn't want. Old chairs, old tables, old objects, and they locked the room. But one day, last summer, I decided to go in this room to have a look. What was in that room exactly? And Robbie said, "Now, why do you want to go in that room? There's nothing in there." But as you know, I'm very curious. I'm a very curious person and I wanted to see what exactly was in that room. So I took the key and I opened the door. And it was a small, dark room because there was no light and there was no light switch. It was small and dark, full of old chairs and old tables. But in the corner, I saw a big brown object. And it looked interesting. It was big and brown. So I pulled and pulled this object out. And I took it into the garden to look properly. And I thought, what is this object? It's big and brown and heavy. What is it? Then I understood. I'll show you this object. Do you want to see this object? See if you can understand what this object is and what they used it for. Now, to show you this object, I have to put this on my head. So I'm going to put this on my head. It's a towel, a tea towel. And I'm going to put this object on my head. What do you think it is? Now you can see. Look at this object. Now, this object is very heavy and Robbie's mum did not have water in her house. There were no taps, no running water. So every day she put this on her head and took it to the river. And she filled it with water in here and she took the water to her house. Now the question is, can I do what she did and walk without holding it? Let's see. Can I do it? Ooh, no, it's very heavy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Have a look at this object. You can see that there are designs on this object. There are pictures, and it's made of bronze. And it's very deep. And it carried a lot of water. So, what are you doing here? You want to go to sleep? Okay, I'll put you in my container. He can sleep there. And so I took this object home and I cleaned it. It is a very old object, about 100 years old. And now they have water in that house, so they don't need it. But it is a great memory of those times. So I told you my interesting story. I think it's interesting. I like it. And so when you tell a story, first of all, as I did, you can say, when did it happen? So you can begin many years ago, 1 week ago, 2 days ago. Then you tell me about the place. I said it was a dark room. Who was in your story? Was it a girl? Was it a boy? Was it you? Describe that person. For example, she was very curious. She liked interesting things. What happened? What happened? In my case, I saw a strange object. I pulled it out. I wondered what it was, and then I realised it was an object for water. What is the ending? What is the final part of your story? In my case, I realised the meaning of this object, and I brought it home. I cleaned it, and sometimes I try to be clever, like Robbie's mum and like Robbie's grandma, and carry it on my head. So you can write your story in the past. So write me a great story in the past. Use some imagination, use some creativity, and tell me when it happened, where it happened, who was in the story, what exactly happened, and a great ending. Okay? So your activity today is to send me your story. Send me your story using the past tenses. And thank you for all the homework. It's great. I'm correcting it. It's all fantastic. And see you really soon. Bye now, kids. Bye. Take care. Thinking of you. Big hugs and kisses. Bye now.